we are back yet again for Fantasy Football in 5. Last time we finished up the top 200 fantasy football players for this year.
So if you haven't seen those videos, hit the big button below.
Now this time we are going to do our top sleepers for this year in this year's mock drafts.
Alright, so to begin our sleeper list, we're going to start off with the quarterbacks. We have 3 quarterbacks for you, Derek Carr, Phillip Rivers, and Eli Manning.
Then we're going to talk about the running backs. We have 3. We have Jordan Howard, Chris Ivory, and Latavius Murray.
And for the quarterbacks, Oakland Raiders quarterback Derek Carr is one of our favorite sleepers this year. We've been able to get him really late in a couple of our mock drafts. Last year he had about 4,000 yards, 32 passing touchdowns, something like that, and a pretty low interception numbers. And his really good receivers in Crabtree and Cooper, just a good overall offense. So expect a pretty big year from Derek Carr this year.
And another Raider that we wanted to talk about was Latavius Murray. Now, I am really big on him this year. Last year, he had over 1,000 yards. He had a kind of low touchdown number with like 6 or 7. But I think this year, he has a lot better offensive line. He has probably, in my opinion, the best offensive line in all of football. So expect him to have a huge year this year. All right, starting off here, we're going to highlight a few receivers. We have Kevin White, Travis Benjamin, and Mohamed Sanu.
In the tight end department, we have Coby Fleener, Ladarius Green, and Zach Miller.
Now, for the wide receivers, I wanted to talk about Kevin White a little bit. Last year, he didn't get to play at all. He was out the whole year to injury, and this year is pretty much like his rookie year, and he will be opposite of Alshon Jeffrey, but I think he will have a really good season. He's a really athletic receiver, fast receiver. Expect him to put up a lot of touchdowns with Jay Cutler slinging the ball around.
And speaking of touchdowns, tight end for the Saints, Coby Fleener. Now he came over after spending a couple years in Indianapolis. He's with Drew Brees now in New Orleans, and we're really excited about that because Brees likes to use all of his targets. Obviously, you saw how he loved to use Jimmy Graham. Not that he's fallen off the board. But now Coby Fleener is expected to come in and produce very well. Last season, he only had around 500 yards and 5 touchdowns or something like that. But we expect those numbers to increase dramatically this season. Alright, so for the last 2 positions, obviously the defense and the kickers is all we have to finish. So for the defenses, we have the Raiders defense and the Vikings defense.
For kickers, we have Josh Brown and Roberto Aguayo.
Now, we've obviously talked about Josh Brown a lot in one of our previous videos, and for a good reason. He performed incredibly well last season. He kicked his way to plenty
Almost perfect, I think.
Yeah, plenty of 15-plus point games for him. And now that he has even better offense than last season, his points should go up.
And for defense, we wanted to highlight the Vikings defense. Now, obviously, I know a lot about them, being a Vikings fan.
Right.
And so the Vikings defense, I expect them to be extremely good. Last year, they were already really good. They were kind of around like 11 or 12 for passing in rushing defenses totals, but for the total like points allowed, they were in the top 5. They were ahead of the likes of Carolina and the Cardinals defense, and that's really where the defenses lose a lot of their points.
Exactly.
So expect them to do really well this season.
Can't really talk about the Steelers defense much because there isn't much to talk about on that side of the ball.
Alright, for this part we want to do just highlight 2 players who we thought are sleepers who could have really good seasons this year. So starting off, we have Alex Smith, the quarterback obviously for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I had him last year on my team. I picked him up late, and I thought he was by far the most consistent quarterback out there. He was able to get a solid 18 or at least 18 points every single
And consistency is really what you want from every position.
Exactly. I mean, he was able to he could get touchdowns through the air, on the ground, he could throw the ball all over the place, and I just really liked him as a quarterback.
And the running back department, Steelers running back D'Angelo Williams. Now, he played the starter role for a lot of the season last year, even though he's been a lifelong backup, really. The only reason he got a lot of playing time last year was A, Le'Veon Bell was hurt, and B, Le'Veon Bell was suspended. Well, take a look at this season. Bell's currently facing a 4-game suspension, and if that does happen, Williams will be the starter, and he played extremely well last season. He had almost 1,000 yards. I think he had double-digit touchdowns. So if you want to draft him, I'd say get him
Late.
not necessarily late, but maybe around 10 or 11, somewhere around there. I think Williams is going to have a really nice season this year. Alright, that was Fantasy Football in 5. Thank you for watching. We deliver all your fantasy news in 5 minutes plus, because honestly, who would want to watch a 30-minute video on this topic?
Amen.
So this video was full of our sleepers. Next video will be our bust. So stay tuned for that, and don't forget to subscribe.